Well, this is on my, this guy, you mean, yeah.
All right, we're going to get started with the policy review committee meeting for May 21st, 6:20 p.m. And Jeff Scott is in attendance.
John Hurley, sorry.
Anybody else in attendance?
Julia Olson.
Beverly, right.
All right, and absent, or not here yet, is Steve Miller. All right. Turn that off. All right. Anybody need an agenda?
No.
Give one to each committee member, please. All right, so the only one from old business, Mr. Hurley, is the 246 school wellness.
Yeah. That policy, guys, if you take a look at it, that's an 11-page proposed policy. I have to run that by my nurses, so I have to have a nurses meeting before that. This time of year, because we're field trips right now, I have to go. There's things about eating in the classroom. We do have a wellness committee, which it's addressed in there. We do have that. Our wellness committee does not have student representation. There's some things in there that I have some concerns about that may be unintentional mandated costs. There was like a separate health committee they wanted to have, and they need to make sure it's not going to cost the district any more money to do that. We still need more time. I need to table that as my recommendation. That's probably come back to in September after I meet with the nurses at the end of the school year. I got to get it to nurses, wellness. There's a transportation component with that piece. I have to get my administrators are easy, and I got to get by Alonzo. So I'm going to ask to table that one as the short answer until we get to probably September with that one.
Okay.
Because otherwise we're putting that ahead of things that should be bigger priorities right now, to be very honest with you. If you're okay with that, guys?
Yeah.
That's just
All right. Well, then that takes us to new business. Pass those out. Everybody gets one of these. Everyone gets one of these. I don't know what the. You've seen this before, Mr. Hurley? So this is like a different, completely different look and feel from all the other ones.
So this document. It's in the policy.
Because this has like several other policies in it. Yeah, 105 and 239 are also in here.
it's only like $2,000 or $3,000. The admin guidelines for PASMA, like a template like for each one of these. Now a lot of these are proposing new admin
Yeah.
guidelines. Our admin guidelines are literally this thick. You know what I mean in terms of that. They have proposed. Now we're gonna have to customize those. Now you guys don't need to approve admin guidelines, but it has in my budget. It's in there for about $2,000 to subscribe for to that service because it basically it gives us a starting point to work from. Otherwise, just literally typing a load is.
But is this just an amendment to an existing policy?
Yeah, ELL, we have, as of, like, policy 138, if you look at, is, it deals with, or about a year and a half ago, they passed the federal government passed a law called the ESSA, and basically dealt with, one of the many things, it's a big federal law, it dealt with English language learners. We have an ESL program, or what's called ELL now. We have about 15, 20 kids in our school district where English is their second language. Basically, we're required by law to provide additional instruction, support services, and assessment. They take an assessment called WIDA, which basically gives us their level of English proficiency. We have a teacher who provides supports for them in classrooms, and this is what you're seeing in policy 138 is just getting language consistent with the SSA, which was the federal law that was passed, and so because it also addressed the ELL learners there, actually addressed a lot of things, Title I, things like that also.
I guess my question is though that it looks like normally they give you the policy and then they show you what they want to update.
Yeah, I don't know why Kathy and this guy.
Basically just changing the acronym.
Yeah.
This
Not
I'm gonna go
saying,
worry
not
about it.
saying
Yeah.
ESL anymore or whatever the last one was. Now it's
And our
ELL.
practice is very consistent with what's in here for the yellow English language learners. So we're actually in real good shape, I think, in that area, just because we don't have a ton of kids and we have staff supporting it.
So this is essentially just saying we're going to go
just
update.
following the mandates of ESSA.
We're updating these particular policies that have any referral to the old language ESL.
Yeah, that's all it's referring to,
Okay.
just minor stuff here.
All right. Does anybody oppose to making these updates?
Yeah, and I'm looking at the one that's listed in our board docs as well, 7-page document. The last section of it says notes, if the district does not receive Title III federal funding, policy may be revised. I'm assuming that depending on which we are, that note will be gone and it'll be addressed in the policy.
We don't receive federal funding under Title III because
that's what I'm
our
saying, so
enrollment
that-
is not high enough for ESL.
So what I'm
to
saying
receive
is
it.
that note
Yeah,
will
it's such a
disappear.
small amount, they don't give it to
So
us.
then that note will disappear in the second reading in the one that's online,
Okay.
because it says that you have to do other things if you don't get Title III money, so we'll make those changes to the document, I'm assuming.
Currently, we do not get Title III money from the federal government. Because the pot of money is not, you have to have a certain threshold in order for the government to send it to you. So
Just take out the optional language.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
yeah, we can fix that, take out the
Yeah, I'm assuming,
Now,
it says
it's
things
possible,
like,
guys. What happens with ELL, without going in, like you can have a family of, and literally this has happened like several times. Like you have a family of 4 move in, and all of a sudden you have 4 kids from
Yeah.
Yugoslavia. You know what I mean? Like that's what happened. I mean, we could go over sometime. That. But right now we don't have, and nor have we had that many since I've been here. But that's how you tend to get families that move in and out, and so. But I'll look at that language to make sure there's nothing there.
Yeah, but when you look at here, my understanding is that everything that's old is what's new, right?
Yep.
So like Beverly was saying, they're changing some of the terminology and changing some of the citations to updated citations. So I don't see anything problematic.
Yeah, I mean, we'll fill in, yes, if we need to. You don't even need to put that in policy, or they contract. Yeah, we might contract with the IU when we need stuff. I mean, like, that doesn't need to be a policy in theory. We can fill in the blanks there.
Yeah, these are super long, aren't they? Which page were you referring to?
Not on this handout.
No, it's in the,
It went from page 6 to 7. No, that's why. It went from page 4, the notes were from page 4 to 5.
okay, this is where the optional provision of services on public
Yeah.
students?
I just assume that once, like, that, I guess that we should we're gonna make a determination if we need to make any revisions based on that note and, like, delete the note from our, document. That's just, and if that's not the way it works, that's fine. I just,
I mean, right now, we don't contract with the IU except for, like, I'll give you an example. I don't even always use the IU. If I need, here's where, like, an ELL situation. If I need a translator for Russian, okay, I don't have anyone on staff who can do that. I can contact the IU, and they usually put me in contact with someone else who can do that type of thing. They'll help me try to find that. We had someone about 2 years ago with Arabic. I mean, that's how I use the IU. The only other way we use the IU, we do have groups that meet, like we get together and we meet with other people who are in charge of ELL for the district in groups. That's the only way we're currently using the IU for that, for any kind of services for that. They do have like an expert on it because not everyone has a background in that who is theoretically in charge of it, so that we can call, like, all right, what do we do here, in this situation.
So on page 2, where it says the board may contract with blank intermediate union, we'll fill that in with
First County IU, yeah.
Yeah. But standard practice, we don't need to do that, but it leaves us the option that if we have to.
Yes, if we need to, and there could be very realistically someday where I need to go out and reach out to them for something beyond what I've just talked to you about. So I'll fill that in first.
All right. Any concerns on 239?
Under the authority for that one, it says the board shall accept foreign exchange students who meet the criteria and the changes established in board policy and administrative regulations have the applicable regulations been looked at and updated recently?
We have admin regs, and I think, and bear with me because I'm shooting from the hip here, so I could be.
Yeah.
I think we have a limit of like 2 kids that we'll accept
Oh,
per year.
per year?
Yeah, maximum. We make sure that they have to test, like they take a certain test. This goes on below my level, but they take a test to make sure they're English proficient. And we make sure it's like a non-for-profit type of situation, so someone's not trying to make money off of, these
So there
kids.
haven't been significant changes in those
No.
criteria
Not
in
at
the
all.
last couple of years?
Nope.
All right. Tobacco. So this is basically covering the e-cigarettes now, essentially.
Which one?
323 tobacco.
Oh. Yeah, looks that way.
Any concerns about that one?
Pretty straight.
Is there a big? Do we have a lot of kids in high school that use the vape on that?
I think we have kids like every school. I don't think it's any greater, or be naive to say we don't have kids who use e-cigarettes or use tobacco. I don't think it's any greater or any less than our surroundings.
But where do they do it?
What's that?
Where do they do it?
It's random more than
Yeah.
anything else. I mean, we have people who monitor halls on hall duty. We try to catch. We have security guards in the halls. We monitor. We have video cameras to monitor outside. I mean, kids will do wherever they think
The
they can get
bus.
away with it.
On the bus?
Well, I've had that happen.
Absolutely.
Had
In their
that
cars
happen.
before they come to the
There's
school.
that's actually a spot too. So
On the
When they're
bus?
When they're walking to school too.
How do they get away with it on the bus?
How do you
You don't
see,
always-
how do you see 30 seats back when you're driving a bus?
sometimes they do it and they get caught too. They're not getting away with it.
And e-cigarettes don't smell like cigarette smoke. So
No,
I
but
don't
they
think that the
you
smell- I
see, you
don't-
see it though. I mean, you can see the smoke pretty obvious. Pretty.
They do it in the bus, they're probably getting caught.
Yeah, I
they're
would
probably
say.
getting snagged because someone's going to squeal on them.
Jeez.
A kid or someone.
Isn't there a presentation on that tomorrow?
What's that? E6, baby.
Yeah.
Well, I think that most people are under the impression that there's no ill effects of it. All right. 324 personnel files.
I have sent that to Mr. Subers for legal review for obvious reasons.
Okay.
So if you guys are okay waiting for his recommendation on that,
Yep.
you guys are all right for waiting on that one? So he has that right now.
Dress and grooming.
We have this in our staff handbooks for classified and teachers. Reasonable policy and guidelines that were developed in conjunction with our teachers and our staff that were just reasonable professional dress.
And this came from PASMA.
Yeah, this is
right?
just their recommended.
It's broad, but there's nothing problematic to it.
Yeah.
I just like that it says the board has the authority to specify reasonable dress and grooming requirements.
Yeah.
I mean, we never
We
have
have-
anything to do with establishing the current policy.
We have it, and it's really not an issue. Occasionally something pops up.
Are you thinking about changing it to the administration?
we have it in our staff handbooks.
Oh, no, I wondered if that's why Mr. Scott mentioned
I just-
it.
I just feel like that's one of those things that, why are we involved in that?
We already have that in place. Honestly, we've come to a professional understanding with our staff because that was
Yeah.
developed collaboratively about what's reasonable for
I
people.
mean, do the staff ever complain about other staff members not dressing appropriately?
Has that ever happened? Yeah. So, I mean, I can't say it never happens like any workplace, you know, but
And we've talked about this before, where, there are certain things that are appropriate
With different
for
levels.
like kindergartners,
Yeah.
people teaching kindergartners, you know, getting down on the floor every day versus, you know, somebody who's teaching, you know, science in the high school. You know, we've talked about the differences there because it mentions, you know, what's appropriate for your job responsibilities. It can be different. But again, like I said, there's nothing wrong with it,
no.
but with the way it's written. But, you
Just
know,
like the phys ed teacher needs to wear something obviously different than I need to wear.
right.
Yeah.
When you have
Um,
parent meetings.
You had said that you had,
Yeah.
you have an you said you had an understanding with the teachers. Do you also have that same, is that same, would those same rules apply to non-teaching staff?
Well, and the answer to your question.
This applies to everyone.
Yeah, this is written generic. We have a staff handbook for classified, and we have a staff
Okay.
handbook for the professional.
And it
employees.
addresses every type
Yeah, and
of
I'm going to be
staff.
honest with you. I know the staff one better than I do for the classified
Yeah.
one, and just because I've had to interact with it more in my
Yeah.
years as a principal, like periodically they've had people wear uniforms, you know, like
Yeah.
custodians, things like that have been instituted over the different years and stuff like that. So.
All right.
There's nothing wrong with it if we need to have it spelled out in policies. There's nothing wrong with the way it's written.
Any concerns?
I'm good with that. That's fine. It's pretty generic. You can fit about anything in there.
Complaint process. I can't imagine we need this. I'm sure nobody complains.
Never.
So what is our district-wide policy for complaints?
Well, if it's a typical everyday concern, you go to your immediate supervisor. If you disagree with your immediate supervisor and you'd like to appeal it, you go to your next level. You need to tell your immediate supervisor. And again, we're talking about generic everyday, you know, disagreements, not necessarily, you know, something extraordinary, which needs to jump right to the top. So this is basically just codifying a reasonable approach to it.
And is this what we follow today?
What I just said right there is what we follow today primarily.
I mean,
Basically,
that's-
you're going to your immediate supervisor. If you disagree with that person and you'd like to appeal the.
That's basically what this outlines.
Yeah, basically that type of stuff. I mean, for minor disagreements, that's what we generally, for you to talk to your supervisor, yeah. And the common courtesy is to tell your supervisor if you're going to appeal it above them, that's all. Just so no one gets surprised by it. This formalizes these processes.
Any concerns, ladies?
No.
All right. Compensation plans and salary schedules. I mean, this is This is pretty cut and dry too. Any concerns on this one? Overtime. Overtime and compensatory time.
Typo. It says compensatory tone. In policy review document name. Which is a long one.
Compensatory what?
The name of the file is overtime compensatory tone, not time. Weird.
Oh. How do we use compensatory time?
Be careful about regulating that too tightly, but generally, if someone's here, someone stays after, if Kathy
We've
stays after.
discussed
yeah.
that as an option
Yeah.
in the past, and it
Usually
sometimes
the-
is an option.
The immediate supervisor is working with that person. Like,
Right.
If say Kathy's here till, 7 p.m. one night working on something, like we try to work it out with them individually. And that's generally how we do it.
Alright. Any concerns on this?
I'm sorry, Mr. Hurley, was your comment that you would be concerned about overly defining what compensatory time means?
I think this is fine. I think
Oh,
it's fine.
okay.
Yeah, I think
I
it's fine.
apologize.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much in it.
I'm just having trouble
No, I'm
here.
sorry, I wasn't clear. I think we work it out pretty well between the supervisor and at least that's been my impression. If I'm wrong, I will stand corrected. But we usually don't have too many issues with our employees, in regards to that. And our people, if someone stays, we're usually pretty good
So
about giving them.
you don't think that this would inject too much
Don't think so at
oversight,
all.
too
No.
many fingers?
Nope, I think it's
dealing
perfectly
with it?
written.
Okay.
Just like if I go to work and I'm 20 minutes late, he looks and it says stay 20 minutes someday. Just kind of,
Yep.
it's tough when you have a very
Rigid, that's what I'm saying.
schedule of, when there's appointments and whatnot that can't be, or the bus comes late and if there's, or there's an accident, there's nothing you can do. So I think giving them a little leeway is
I agree.
the best
So as
way
long
to
as
go.
you think this will maintain that, I don't have an issue with it.
Yep.
I understand that you need to have it not be a free-for-all.
Yeah,
exactly. We'll make it up to you next year.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the job of the manager is to make sure
Absolutely,
it's
that's
Right.
the administration.
reasonableness is
And as long as it's still that way, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Job-related expenses.
I don't know, I think that the added statement of the superintendent or designee needs to report all reimbursed expenses for travel outside the district by employees at the next board meeting. I mean, unless what you mean is, because it does get put on the treasury report the following month, you know, whatever stuff has been paid out, it's on the treasury report. If that's all you mean, that's fine, but if you expect like a specific, like line by line report from the superintendent, that just
It's gonna
seems
get
like a lot.
expensive.
Yeah, there's a lot of trips to the IU. And
I know, and between the buildings, and,
Ooh.
you know, I mean.
Thank you for pointing that out, man.
It just, I mean, however, like I said, you know, every time we have a treasurer's report in in a board meeting that gets approved by us, you know, any of those checks that have been paid out to anybody, that's all in there. And if that's all you mean by having the superintendent report it, you know, then that's fine, because it's already there.
Right.
Because the designee could be the business office.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. What are your thoughts, Jeff? on that?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying, if all they mean is what we already do, I think that's fine, because I don't think we should do any less than that.
No.
But I don't want to hear and then Mr. Jones in middle school went, you know,
Yeah.
went up to the IU 3 times this month.
12:30 would seem like an early evening.
Yeah, exactly.
do we have teachers that currently go between buildings on a regular basis?
Yes.
They have a schedule they submit?
Yes,
Is it the same every week?
yes.
No.
Or every month they send
Every
me.
month?
They send me an expense sheet every month. And we do have teachers that travel between buildings, and they send me an expense sheet.
And
Some of the people that also coach in a different building, for a different building that they work in, theirs are a little bit more their expense reports are a little bit, you know, they're kind of concentrated in like months a year. And, you know, it depends on when their needs. Like, we have a couple of teachers, I think, that teach at the high school and coach at the middle school.
And
Both
they
ways.
submit for that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that wouldn't go. They don't go through my desk. The teachers' stuff goes through my desk. Those types of expenses, some professional development expenses will go through my desk. Like we have teachers going. From
Yeah,
middle
that
school,
might
high
not fall
school,
under
yeah.
travel. You might
Yeah.
be right.
Yeah, so that would fall. I don't think. I'm gonna be honest with you, because that's an extracurricular. I don't think that would be
Choice.
reimbursed. I'll defer to Lauren on that
Okay.
because they're
And
getting another contract for that,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't.
There are also travel expenses for special ed and psychologist staff, right?
Yeah, psychologists travel a lot.
Yeah,
so
there's that.
I guess we get Shelley signs on that one, but she gets
Yeah,
those.
there's ones for those.
Yeah.
And the administrators, now maybe with the EC closing, there'll be less of that. But
Mhm.
there are administrators who go back and forth between buildings sometimes. And we pay that out as
Correct.
well. And that is not on a regular schedule. Because
Yeah.
they have to go to the admin building, I
Yeah.
suppose.
It depends on where we're having our meetings
Sure,
at too.
exactly.
So yeah, so it depends on what's going on. We tend to move our meetings in different places.
I'm not trying to say
depending on
anybody's
topic,
trying to get
Yeah.
away with anything, I'm just trying to think of the examples that are out there. And then when it comes to things like administrators having to go to meetings, like superintendent's meeting, happens at different schools,
Mhm.
that can be different every month, and it's a
Yep.
different day every month, and trips to the IU, some trips to Harrisburg.
Mhm.
And I mean, do they submit anything else besides the mileage?
Depends. It depends on what it is and where they're going. If it's multiple days, then you'll get something with big food expenses and things like that.
Could be food.
But, yeah.
Like if they bring treats in for testing week,
Yeah, then you don't get reimbursed for.
you don't get
food.
reimbursed for
You
that.
know, if they pay for you to eat, you
But
don't.
it should be budgeted if they're doing something like that. That kind of stuff is kind of going by the way. At least my understanding is going by the wayside because of our financial situation. So can't say it doesn't
Yeah, but
happen
it depends
anywhere
on where
ever,
you're
but so.
All right.
I know we try to minimize as much as we can on this stuff, but I can't say we've eliminated that entirely, except we do next year.
Like I said, as long as we can agree that the report can, that the treasurer's report, not treasurer's report, but the business expenses report meets this requirement, I don't have it. And we don't have to pull it out and
Basically, we
highlight
don't
it
want to
in
create
meetings.
another mandate.
Yeah,
that would-
yeah. Because it's all in there, you
Yeah.
know, it says it's for employee travel.
All right. Working periods.
Which, next one?
Working periods, number 332.
Okey-dokey.
That first paragraph, I mean, do we hold people to that?
I think people work way, I know the administrative employees, we don't have hours. I mean, they can speak to that. I mean, they're there when they need to be there. So there is no hours, they're not hourly employees.
Now, how does this play into the whole high school situation where people are working through, they're doing instruction during free periods or,
Every teacher has a prep period, okay, that's what they have per contract. Some have duties in periods where some are teaching, I believe, and that's probably what they're referencing there, Jeff. Some teachers don't have a duty period, they have they're probably teaching, especially in classes where there's singletons or doubletons, which basically means there are just onesies and twosies types of questions, how many sections offered in it. You'll see that. So that's probably what you're referencing. But they all have a prep period, which is what's written in the contract.
and I guess this also is like one of those things where, I mean, I know that the schedules are approved at each building,
Yes.
right?
Everyone, the principals do the as a rule of thumb, do the master schedules for the.
Yeah. And none of this stuff falls really into that schedule. That's just here's when you're going to teach what class.
Yeah, the way I read this is this is the time you show up for work, you report at 7:30, you can leave at 3. That's as a rule of thumb. Any teachers may stay after that, but there's contractual. So I think that's what we're talking about. It's kind of the minimum expectations.
Beverly, you have any thoughts on this one? Good?
Nope.
All right. Professional development, 333.
Guys, the way I read that, our strategic plan should encompass what that requirement, what they're saying in there. The district strategic plan. By the way, we have to redo. Just started on, I should say.
So the changes in this one look like a lot of them are based on changes in state law or maybe
I just
even
want to take a
federal law?
double check.
No, it looks like state, so PA code.
So this professional education plan is, you're, as administrator, you have a plan that dictates and describes what you're going to teach your staff.
What we have, there's a whole variety of things. And first, to answer that question, state law changes regularly. For example, within the last, I guess, 2 years, the Act 71 was suicide prevention. That's a big thing. So it does have to evolve, and it has to coincide with state law. The other thing it addressing here is, and I believe our strategic plan addresses what they're looking at in here, because when they talk about, and I'll double check everything there, but I believe that does.
I'm sorry. Can you speak up a little bit?
I believe our strategic plan addresses a lot of this type of thing that's in here. Principals, for example, have something called PIL. These PIL classes they have to take to maintain their certification, which they're constantly doing also. I think that's probably pretty much what they're addressing here in this proposed policy. So, double check it. We have an induction plan, and actually, Dr. C did.
Does it get approved, or do you just submit it?
The PD approves your strategic plan. We've actually just gathered some data from a survey out last month to begin the strategic planning process anew.
Does it look like, does this say, it says here the board shall appoint to a professional education committee? So, I mean, because it says shall, that means it's mandating that we have to create a professional education committee.
And who, are you gonna pay for $45
No,
an hour?
I'm just saying, that's what's in this policy.
Yeah. Is that what it's saying there?
Yeah,
It's a tough one. Because then you're gonna have to pay for it if you do, I mean, if you're gonna,
because the second paragraph, where it just says that we shall develop and submit a professional education plan, I'm wondering if would it be possible for us to, like, change that? What I'm saying is I don't know if it's required by law. If it is, then can't change it. But what would make more sense to me is that when we develop our professional education plan, we make it available to the public to comment on, which is what we did when we saw the profession. That's when the thing that you were talking about before that was presented at the Curriculum and Instruction Committee, that was made available for people in draft form to look at. And that would be more feasible for the resources of the school district than creating a new committee. Does that make sense?
yeah. Thank you, it makes a lot of sense, because we gotta be careful, like you run out of people, because it tends to be the same volunteers on all these committees, and then if they say they wanna have a board member on there, it's another
Yeah.
night for you guys. We
I'm
have
not
to be
saying that
realistic.
if the regs say we gotta do it,
Then we'll do it.
we'll do what we gotta
Yeah.
do. But I'm wondering if it could just read that the board will make available to the public for comment.
Can I put this back when I talked to Brian?
Yeah.
Because I think that's the direction we want to go, is can we use our strategic, this is how I was envisioning, can we use our strategic planning committee, which they have to talk about professional development, because you have to have, there's an induction part of that, there's a professional development part of that. Can we use that as this committee also, just
Right.
by name? And so let me reach out to Brian next time I talk to him about this one.
Okay.
And can I get back to you on Jeff on that one? That way we're not
There-
duplicating the same thing over
Yeah,
and
because that
over.
first paragraph makes 2 citations there, down from the bottom. So if somewhere in those codes and those regulations, it says we have to have committee, then we gotta,
Yeah, and we'll do it.
Okay. But I think what makes more sense is to just make it available for comment and draft.
Like you said, we'd be happy to have a committee. I think one of the challenges, every committee you have, it's not always easy to get volunteers to do it.
I agree. And you'd also, I mean, you'd need somebody with some expertise and that's not gonna be the board member, that's gonna be somebody from the administration and some representatives from the teaching
Yep.
staff. And that's their time that they would have to be putting into something like that as well. Which probably means you, Rob.
All right, who are you reviewing this with?
I just want to touch base with Brian on that, just
That sounds good.
see what the statutory regs are, because I don't have that right on top of my head. I think we can do that within our strategic planning process, but I just want to make sure. I got to talk about a few other things too, so 2-minute conversation.
All right. Sick leave. So why would the board ask a teacher to provide proof if they were out sick? Wouldn't that be something that the administration would do?
We would do that. Just saying you're reserving it, right? I guess you theoretically could,
That's
but we would,
all.
as a matter of practice, we would do that. I mean, why would you want to be involved in that kind of stuff?
Like, what would constitute misuse of the sick leave policy?
Taking every Friday where it's above 80 degrees off.
You know, they do that now.
Do you have
I mean,
do you have a requirement that if
Do,
somebody
but go to the
is
chiropractor
sick
anymore.
for after a certain number of days, they have to bring a doctor's note in?
First, obviously, we look at, you look for patterns,
No, I'm asking if, like, where I work, if you're out 3 days, you need a doctor's note. If you're out 2 days, you don't.
Rule of thumb is 3 days, the rule of thumb that we use, but if we
So
have
that
a
would be
pattern.
that would be
but if
another infraction.
Yeah.
Somebody's gone for 4 days and said they were sick, and then they can't produce a doctor's
It's
note. Like,
rule-
that would be another example.
Rule of thumb, that's the rule of thumb that we use. So,
And
but
what about the-
I can tell you, we've asked for it where we see a pattern on Fridays. I mean, like
Yeah.
I can tell you, when we look like, and there's a pattern of stuff, we try.
I agree.
That's where and we're still growing it as an administrative team. I mean, being honest with you, it's just making sure we're paying attention to this, because we're focusing on academics primarily, and we have to watch this ourselves too.
I noticed that there's nothing in here about emergency sick leave.
Well, all sick leave is emergency, isn't it?
Should be.
But
Unless you have a doctor's appointment.
there is a distinction between sick leave and emergency sick leave.
Is there in our
I mean, I don't know if it's not in this
I'm
policy.
I'm asking, is it
It's-
in ours?
We use it here.
I thought we had like sick leave and then personal days and then vacation. And personal days are considered.
Well, as an example, we had some teachers that had their vacations interrupted because of the snow.
Oh,
And so initially they had requested emergency sick leave in those days versus taking them unpaid. So I'm wondering what the policy is on emergency sick leave.
If you're gonna take a sick day, you need to be sick.
I know, but you know what I'm talking about.
So, I mean,
Easter week, there was teachers that were not here and submitted for emergency sick leave.
so we don't have.
Like there was some type of, like, hey, we'll let you use sick time if there's some extenuating circumstances.
Well, is there something in the
sick
bargaining
leave.
agreements that has to do with what's called liberal leave policy. And my contract with my job has the option for what's called liberal leave policy if there is weather-related why you're not in the office.
You know,
You know
one
what
thing I
mean?
would recommend, just as we go through in the new contract, and this is to make sure to get clarity in the contractual
Yeah.
language, like to your point, like what you're saying right there, I think extraordinary clarity, so it's clear to the teachers,
Sure.
to principals,
What
to
the
everyone else,
expectation
yeah,
is.
about what the expectation, fairness to everyone involved in that whole thing.
But I mean, what was the emergency sick leave?
There's emergency personal day, they're called personal emergency days in the contract.
Is that what it was?
It's called personal emergency days, which is an interesting way of terminology. So
Because
that's
to me, a personal
one of the
day is
area.
always like, you don't have to give notice for a personal day if you need a personal day. We don't make a distinction between personal day and emergency.
The way it says is personal emergency days
Yeah.
in the contract, which is
Yeah.
subject to can be
Yeah, I
interpretation.
get that.
We need to take we need 3 weeks of approval for the head of the personal.
Oh, really? You don't get to, like, okay.
So I think some long-term clarity.
So it just
on
forces
would
you to
be
take a
helpful.
sick day.
Maybe I'm wrong.
What do you do here if someone can't come in because their child is sick? Do they take a sick day or do
Yes.
they take a vacation
I
day?
don't know what they do here.
Well, technically, they're not supposed to use it as sick time.
Under family medical leave,
Yeah.
can you do that today?
Guys, I think
No,
we
that's why we had to
probably,
change our-
Yeah,
this
we're
is
getting
probably
kinda
getting
far
into some
afield.
contractual
Yeah.
stuff here.
It is.
You were getting kind of far afield.
Well, I just want to, I'm trying to understand the
Yeah, because then we get into the 2 parents as both teachers in the same district, and you can't say you can't be off for my kid, so.
Yeah.
like, where are you, I'm trying to figure out where's the policy for,
We need to talk about this in executive session.
Yeah,
if
no,
we're gonna
that's
go
fair.
further on this. We can talk back there and go into executive.
as far as the emergency stuff?
About some of the stuff we're getting
Okay.
into. Yeah.
All right, then I'm just going to hold this
If you're
then.
okay, yeah.
We're gonna hold on to this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I touch base with you back there?
Yeah, yeah.
I still want to get into contract stuff.
It is confusing, the way that the draft.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If sick leave is generally handled in contract, then why do we have a policy about it?
Well, because it does, and it does address.
It should be
it
one or the
addresses
other.
more than just teachers.
Also a
Right.
good point.
Yeah, that's true. Administration too, yeah. All right. I just said we're going to review that one in executive session or just offline?
It's contractual.
Did we go through it?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
So we will, unless anyone has any opposition, we'll adjourn.
Sounds good to me.
Area School District voting meeting for May 21st. I see a lot of kindergartners over there, and someone's going to tell me what they have on their heads, right?
They made hats. This is this is sheets of plastic. It's all made hats, patriotic hats.
Nice, nice. Okay, so what are we doing first?
Well, let's stand